Because the first postmortem never claimed it was a suicide. The only thing the first postmortem claimed was that the bullet entered the body from the front. But then hundreds of people die every day who are shot in the chest or in the head. Does the police presume straight away that it's a suicide? And the crime scene itself was screaming and screaming that it's a case of probable homicide. The gun was not there. The bullet casing was not there. Ample blood was not found in the soil to declare that this is the primary scene of incident. Not only was his face recognizable, and even if you went by the assertion that it is decomposition, then the face had decomposed much faster, very in strange circumstances than the rest of the body. And then the biometrics from the fingers of both hands were removed. So these things cannot be done to a person after they have committed suicide. So was it such a person who put himself through such torture before he killed himself? So from day one, deliberately the report was misinterpreted, and the entire focus was put on that we are going by the medical legal officer's opinion as if he is the lead investigator. The officer is only supposed to look at the body. You had the privilege and the benefit of not just looking at the body, but the entire crime scene, his call data records, the CCTV of the surrounding areas, and much more things. You had access to all his childhood friends and everything. Why was it that from day one you were hell bent, and not just you, not an IU of a rank of an inspector, but SPs, SSPs, including the SSP of the Special Investigation Unit, and then the IG and the AIG, people who amongst themselves and between themselves, if you collectively look at their experience of criminal investigation, it would expand over decades. So to simply say that, oh, they made an honest mistake, no. It appears to be a very malicious, deliberate attempt at sabotaging an evidence and creating a narrative that Raza committed suicide and forcing the parents by emotionally exhausting them. That first running stories that it is a suicide, then having media run stories that, oh, we discovered that he was in debt and not being able to pay his debts, then running his audio leaks, then running audio leaks of the father to show that the father is also in debt. And when still the parents persisted that no, none of this matter, none of these scandals matter, all we want is justice, you came out with that gutter journalism that, oh, the police investigation has uncovered the khula file of the parents. That is what the police investigation was focusing on. Well, one thing has to be clear that now, after the first postmortem has been finalized, and that has nothing to do with the special medical board, and that has nothing to do with the exhumation process. When the first postmortem was conducted, the MLO had taken some samples from the body and had sealed the clothes of the body and sent it for to the lab for tests. Now, in light of those chemical examination reports, the first MLO has now issued his final opinion. And his final opinion, which was issued yesterday, he has written specifically that this is not a case of suicide. Evidence says otherwise. And he has corrected his naked eye observation that the entry point was at the front and has relied on the chemical report that the gunpowder is on the back of the shirt. So that is the probable cause of entrance. And by seeing acid traces and sedatives and anesthesia found in his blood samples, he has now concluded that it is a case of homicide. So now the first ML report and the second postmortem can completely be reconciled. They are not contradictions. The only contradiction remains in the brain of the IG Sindh and in the mind of the other senior police officers who are continuing to, rather than after having learned the horrific, brutal, and barbaric manner in which Shaheed Mir Raza Ali Khan, a young, budding, aspiring entrepreneur, who in fact I would not even say aspiring and budding, he already was a successful one, running a well-established branch for the past 5, 6 years, the manner in which he was murdered, I thought the priority of the Sindh police would be that they would be raising alarms that in our midst there are barbaric killers who perhaps are working in a shape of a gang, and they're so dangerous that not only can they trap and kill you and remove your digital footprint, but they can also remove signs from your body which will make it unrecognizable. But still, what we see in the past 3 days, IG is again and again persisting that, oh, whatever happened, happened because of the flawed medical reports or the statement of the police surgeon. And whatever the police did, that was neither negligence, that was neither a crime. That was, you can say, some and inadvertently they reached those conclusions. He's using the mildest, slightest possible criticism he can to just create an excuse for them. And anybody worth their salt, anybody with a little bit of professional integrity, would not only would have apologized himself to the parents and to the society at large, but would have launched a serious departmental investigation. But it appears they're still trying to not do so because they know that the previous investigation team was serving the same ends and means which the current IG is still serving, and that is trying to protect the real people behind the murder of Mir Raza Ali Khan. Well, I still maintain that what I've uncovered about how the investigation has been handled is actually criminal misconduct, and they should be investigated and tried under Section 201 of the PPC for trying to destroy evidence deliberately and sabotage this case. And when I say that the memo of the smartwatch was not prepared in time, it means that there is no official record that the police has taken custody of this smartwatch, and there is no official record of who all have tried to open it, who all have tried to access it, and while opening it and accessing it, how careful were they about the data in it? And did they copy paste anything? Did they delete anything? Did they manipulate anything? Because then the entire smartwatch loses its integrity, and then anything you later find out from that, which may lead you to the real killers. The real killer tomorrow. See, the task is not just claiming who the killers are. The real task is proving they are guilty tomorrow in court. I'm the legal advisor of the family. I'm a legal representative. My job will not end with the submission of the charge sheet. My actual job begins when the trial starts. What I'm trying to ensure right now that there is actually enough to try a criminal if he's caught tomorrow. What they are trying to ensure is that even if they produce somebody tomorrow, the evidence itself would be questionable. When you were trying to change the medical board in the dark hours of the night, and you were doing so by using the office of the Director General Health Services, knowing very well that that is not the authorized office under the Special Medical Legal Act, which means the board made by him does not carry any legal validity. So if they had gone through the exhumation and collected those samples would not have been admissible in court tomorrow. I, as a lawyer, am aware of these things, that these are, devil lies in the details. These are the things because of which I'm again and again timely raising flags, the red flags which I see. Well, so far, the demeanor, at the end of the day, the police is providing a public service. You can use an analogy of a public utility. And whenever you approach a public service or a public utility, the first thing you require is customer service, which means that the people are going to be polite. They're not going to intimidate you. They're going to listen to you. They're not going to dictate to you. So that kind of an approach matters a lot, especially because this is the kind of utility you always use in times of crisis. Water, electricity, gas, you use as per normal routine. Police intervention and police help is you use in already when you're already suffering from harassment, anxiety, fear, or a sense of great loss in case of your young son having been killed in such a brutal and barbaric manner. They, for the first 14 days, have just struggled to establish before this country that this is a case of a murder investigation and not suicide. The first 14 days in which the police is supposed to conclude its investigation, the first 14 days, all we have been able to achieve is actually direct the investigation in the right direction. Now the investigation is going to begin. It's a bit too early to say if things have been properly followed. What we can say that at least we've been heard out, at least we are being involved in the process as it is going on. But definitely the current investigation team must be doing something in their own capacity, which we are not privy to, and we're not supposed to be privy to everything if they think something is time sensitive. And I trust them that at least in a week or so, some credible, substantial steps would be taken and breakthroughs would be made. I can only hope for that, and that's all the family can do. We do not live in a state where we can hire private investigators and a private police force. This is the only police force we have. We are out of options here. Well, as per the CCTV which was shared with the family, I'm not saying that that is the CCTV in its entirety. We also believe that only certain clips to support a certain particular build a certain narrative were used by the police and released to the media. But so far, what we were told that the last camera which saw him was at 4:38 a.m. Now, the first ML, the first postmortem, after receiving the chemical reports and reanalyzing everything, has concluded that the time of death was somewhere between 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. on the 28th of July. And the last time he's seen in the CCTV is 4:38 a.m., which means there are 12 hours, unexplained hours, where he is not seen anywhere. So the question, it begets the question, was he in captivity? And given the kind of torture found on his body, for what duration during that period was he tortured? And by how many people? Could it be alone somebody's work that they can pick up Raza and keep him captive for 12 hours and then torture him and then go through his body and then also remove all the evidence and the biometrics and everything? And then also be in a position to tell the police from day one that when you discover the body, do not call the crime scene unit, do not secure the place, don't do it for 4 days. The body is found on the 29th. Don't put those yellow ribbons for decoration, which they do, because they are not just decoration ribbons that, crime scene do not enter, because it happened on the fourth day. And from day one, from the lowest ranking to the senior most officers, it will be declared as suicide. And if somebody tries to uncover the truth, then the ministries will jump in and they will make sure that those special medical boards are not formed. So that's the kind of gang we are dealing with. That's the kind of powerful people we are dealing with. Now, put yourself in a position of a young entrepreneur in Karachi. You get a call, and they tell you that pay up this much money because you're the same guy who made sure that Raza does not see another day alive. So, what kind of a image you have of those guys? Not only will they pick you, they'll kick you, they'll kill you, they'll remove your digital identity, they'll move your physical identity. Your family will struggle to establish that it's a murder or a suicide. And even after that, ministers will jump in to make the matter controversial. So, do you think anybody is going to resist? Anybody is going to approach the police or seek help from social media? Or they're going to submit to their demands? Because that is the message has been sent. Submit to their demands. The police is not, rather than the police saying that don't be afraid, if any young entrepreneur is Karachi getting a threatening call, we are forming a special force, come to us. Have you heard any of those alarm bells being rung by the Sindh police? So, what is the priority? They save this person and perpetuate their legend as untouchables so that whoever their next target is gives up and surrenders immediately. It gives an impression that those who have done this are experienced with this. It takes a certain kind of apathy, a certain kind of demonic tendencies in you for you to be able to torture someone to such an extent. And our biggest fear is because, I mean, every time parents learn about what their kid go through, they vicariously live through that pain and they can't escape it. And if it is true that the stuff, the black congealed stuff, which was found inside his body, all the way down his throat, is also some chemical which he was perhaps forced to made to drink, then one could imagine what kind of people we are dealing with, who are perhaps professional. This is not their first skill; they've done it many times before, and they're completely cold-blooded. And also, they are extremely well connected. That now the state, which is supposed to actually uncover the truth, is covering up their tracks since the beginning of this case, or at least since I've come on as a lawyer. This question has been repeatedly asked by the media, from the parents as well, from me as well. Aren't you afraid for your own life? Don't you feel any threat? And I have repeatedly asked myself, what is the biggest danger? That killer who killed Raza, or the system who's hell bent on saving that killer? See, one could be carrying a gun, even for example, if they fear that they're going to a place where mugging is rampant. Is it very, unbecoming of a young Karachi entrepreneur carrying a weapon for his own protection? A lot of my friends do. So if he's thinking that he's going to meet somebody and he's going to meet somebody in an area which is a bit shady, and I may carry a gun for my protection, because these are contradictory things. The way he just casually came home, interacted with the family, did things as per his normal routine, then went back, then the body language and the conversation, the alleged driver of the cab is saying that what happened allegedly, they contradict with going or walking into face of such danger. Or perhaps he thought, or he was confident, as is been told by his friends and his family, that Raza always thought that he can get out of the toughest of spots and positions by simply having table talks, by simply being rational, by simply being able to negotiate things. So perhaps he was naive enough to think that the people he is going, or whoever are making demands of him, he may be able to convince them, but that would have been only possible if those people were acting in good faith. Perhaps he was not aware that what kind of demons he was dealing with, but at the same time, Raza not approaching, and this is more alarming and this is more convincing for me, that somebody of Raza's profile, who had a big presence in social media, who had a big social network, who was connected with many people, and definitely would have had, maybe in a positive, most likely in a positive way, interactions with police, because when you're opening branch all across the city, you're taking different permits and approvals. So he knows what a police station is, how a police works. Yet he did not seek any kind of protection and help. Perhaps he knew that the people you're dealing with, I mean, they're way above the pay grade of the IG of Sindh. Whether those behind the barbaric brutal killing of Raza and sabotaging of the investigation, whether they are politically connected people or not, whether they are from the corridors of power or not, more than my speculation, more than parents' speculation, what is more revealing is the silence and the helplessness exhibited by the Sindh government itself. The latter, G. We have told investigators what we know, what we think they should know. We have not insisted on any name. We have not insisted on any place being a crime incident. We have, when we went there yesterday, during the day with the visit with the investigation team, we looked the entire radius of the area where he could have gone and walked, not just that one particular guest house or that one particular banquet hall, but even the entire waterboard facility behind, because waterboard has been notorious in Karachi for being used by different agencies and police stations for all kinds of dirty work, especially the big tanks there where if you're tortured nobody can hear you for miles. uh, so all those things have been shared with them. The details and contacts of anybody he had any financial dealings with, all that has been shared with him. The kind of social interactions he had with people, all that has been shared with them. We don't want to insist on a name. We don't want to insist on a particular piece of evidence, because tomorrow it will become easy for police to just produce that person, claim him as a killer, and say, hey, you guys were insisting on it and we've done our job. Because what we want is a criminal who is actually responsible, which you can prove with evidence, and a criminal alive and well who we can try in court. Not a dead body who you killed in an encounter and claimed that he was behind Raza's murder, and we should also forget about it now. Unfortunately, it appears that it's something much more sadistic, sinister, and bigger. Uh, but again, that would be speculation. Tomorrow, if the Sindh police does their job and produce the killers, and they don't face any further political interference and hurdles from the government. In fact, the government empowers them and pushes them to the right thing. I'll be the first one to sing praises of the government, starting all the way from the CM, going all the way from the police ranks to down to the IU. I'll be the first one to come and sing their praises unconditionally, unequivocally. But the ball is in their court. Either they want to win praises or they want to invite critique. It's up to them. What's more important to them? But unfortunately, forget about this case. If you look at Pakistan in general, public opinion is of little consequence.